First thing you want to do is get the mufflers off your bike. These aren't off my bike, someone was kind enough to donate these. Once you have the mufflers off the bike, you got 4 Allen screws holding these cover plates on. You want to take all those off. Once you have these heat shields off, you're going to want to drill out all these riveted spots. These are probably stainless steel rivets, so a new drill bit is going to be really handy there. And once we get this cap off, everything underneath that from this point on is going to be welded in place. Here, pop, and it comes right out. Using a block of wood to tap these off without damaging anything, what we're going to find once we have these off is that everything under here is going to be welded in place. This cap is just going to be like a little beauty cover that doesn't really give you access to anything. There you go. Looking at the muffler now, we have one of two things inside this. Either there's a series of walls, different chambers with different pipes inside of it that are actually welded to the side of this piece out here, or this is just a cover, a sleeve, and inside is a whole separate piece that can come out as one big piece. Now, seeing how thin this wall is here, I'm not seeing any evidence of tack welds anywhere on this. I think it's probably going to be the case that this is just a sleeve. And that's good news, because that means that all I have to do is cut the top and cut the back, and that whole inside piece should just slide right out. This front plate we don't need. I'm going to save this little piece of tailpipe to use later on. So I'm going to cut around here, and then on the back we need to save this pipe in its location relative to the mounting point so that everything goes back together properly. And we need to save these 2 mounting points for the heat shield. So rather than cut this out and discard it or try and re-weld it on, I'm going to make a cut around here, take the whole plate off, and then I can weld it back on later on. Looking at the placement of the heat shield, if I make my cut anywhere on this side of this line, I can hide my weld behind this later on, and I won't have to worry about making it nice and neat. I don't want to cut all the way through this whole thing all at once, because I want a stub of this pipe hanging out inside here to use later on as well. And I don't want to cut into these recessed areas here, so I want to make a really shallow cut here that's going to cut through this outer wall but not cut through this wall here. So first, this side. There's a number of different ways to cut this piece out. You could drill several holes around it and chisel it out. You could use an angle grinder and grind it out a little bit at a time. It would be a little hard to get in this curved area here. What I'm going to do is drill a single hole, and then I'm going to plasma cut it out, because I happen to have a plasma cutter, and that's going to be the quickest and easiest way for me to do it. Cutting the back piece off, again, there's all kinds of options. You can use a cutoff wheel on an angle grinder, a hacksaw, a chop saw, whatever is easiest for you. I'll see what I want to do when I get to that point. The little hole drilled in there is going to be the starting point for the plasma cutter. I'm just going to cut that whole end out. It doesn't need to be neat. It can all be cleaned up later on. whole thing should just come out as one piece. There we go. This is what will replace the stock muffler cores. A piece of perforated stainless steel tubing and 2 packages of fiberglass packing mat made to repack aftermarket mufflers. The tubing is 1 3/4 inches diameter, which will fit nicely over the stock pipe ends. It's 24 inches long, and I've marked it down the center, and I'm going to cut it in half, and that'll be enough to do both mufflers. The fiberglass is available from various manufacturers and comes in thin sheets like this, thick sheets, loose fibers, and mesh pillows, and probably some other forms. Some variation of this is what's inside almost all aftermarket slip-on mufflers. Just gotta work it down in there. Here's the perforated pipe in place with the muffler packing. I just wrapped it around and then sealed it on there with some masking tape. Need to put the end cap on. Using aluminum rivets, because I don't think my little bitty rivet gun here would handle stainless rivets. That'll make it easier to drill them out too if I want to get it back apart.